Welcome to Senior Living Channel, where we explore the real experiences of growing older, what brings us peace, and what quietly breaks us inside. You work hard your whole life. You sacrifice, you raise families, you build careers, and then retirement comes. Everyone celebrates, but deep inside something doesn't feel right. You finally have the time to rest, yet you feel restless. No deadlines, no responsibilities, yet something feels missing. You start asking questions you never thought you would. Why do I feel invisible? Why does every day feel the same? Do I still matter to anyone? This is a grief no one warns you about. A quiet sadness that settles in when your title disappears, your routines vanish, and the world seems to move on without you. The truth is, retirement can feel like a slow loss of identity, purpose, and connection. And when no one asks how you're really doing, it's easy to suffer in silence, but you don't have to. Stay with us until the end, because the final insight we'll share might be the simplest, most overlooked way to find meaning and joy again. In this next chapter, now let's explore the first hidden sign of retirement grief and what you can do about it. Sign number 1, loss of identity. One of the most painful, yet least talked about consequences of retirement is the sudden and overwhelming loss of identity. For decades, your identity is closely tied to what you do. I'm a teacher. I'm a nurse. I'm an engineer. It's not just a job, it's who you are. It gives structure to your day, pride to your name, and purpose to your presence. People introduce themselves not by who they are, but by what they do. Then suddenly, one day, it's over. No more business cards, no more emails, no more being called boss, coach, or doctor. You're retired. And while that sounds like freedom, it can also feel like erasure. You wake up and realize, I'm no longer needed the way I once was. This feeling hits harder than most expect. You start to wonder, who am I now? Do I still have value if I'm no longer productive? This question is more than philosophical, it's deeply emotional. In fact, according to a study published in the Journal of Aging Studies, retirees who struggle with identity loss are more likely to report symptoms of depression, anxiety, and loneliness within the first 18 months after leaving the workforce. One portrayed participant in the study, a retired police officer, said, "When I wore the badge, I had a place. People listened. After retirement, I felt invisible. It was like my name didn't mean anything anymore." That's the invisible wound so many retirees carry, the feeling that they're worth retired along with their job title. Why it hurts so much? This. Grief often goes unacknowledged because society paints retirement as a victory lap. And yes, it can be. But only if you're emotionally prepared. When we lose our professional roles, we don't just lose status. We lose rhythm, relevance, and responsibility. The structure that once kept us grounded is suddenly gone. You may feel lost without even realizing it. Days bleed together. You stop dressing up. Conversations become shorter. And deep down, you start pulling away, thinking maybe you're just too old to matter. But here's the truth. You still matter tremendously. The value you brought to your profession didn't vanish. It lives in your wisdom, your life story, your ability to mentor, guide, and uplift others. The danger of staying in the dark unchecked, identity loss, can spiral. It may lead to social withdrawal, low self-esteem, even a loss of will to engage with life. Studies show that seniors without a sense of role or purpose are at higher risk of cognitive decline and physical illness. In fact, the MacArthur Foundation study on aging in America found that purposeful living is one of the 3 key pillars to healthy aging, along with physical health and social connection. So what can you do when your old identity no longer fits, but a new one hasn't yet formed? How to reclaim yourself. After retirement 1, give yourself permission to grieve. Yes, it's okay to feel sad about leaving behind something that shaped you. Retirement is a major life transition, like marriage, parenthood, or losing a loved one. Name the loss. Don't ignore it. Ask a different question. Instead of asking, "What am I now?" ask, "What do I want to become?" Your new identity doesn't need to be grand. It just needs to be authentic. Maybe now you're a painter, a community gardener, a volunteer, or a mentor. Create a new rhythm. Build routines that feel meaningful to you. Start your mornings with purpose, whether it's a walk, journaling, or connecting with others. Purpose is found in small, repeated choices. Tell your story, write your memories, record your lessons, share your experiences. Your legacy is your voice, and someone out there needs to hear it. Real-life inspiration. Take Helen, a 67-year-old retired accountant from Ohio. For 40 years, she lived by spreadsheets and tax deadlines. After retiring, she spiraled into sadness until she joined a local storytelling group at her library. Today, she teaches teens how to manage money and shares financial wisdom online. She doesn't just feel useful again, she feels seen. Or Thomas, a retired firefighter who battled with drinking after losing his sense of identity. After counseling and support, he started volunteering with a youth camp, teaching kids leadership and safety. He says, "It gave me a reason to get up again." You are not your job title. You are your story. You're not less of a person because you're retired. If anything, you have more to give than ever before. You've earned your experience. Now is the time to repurpose it, to rewrite your role, not to erase it. Retirement is not the end of your story. It's just a new chapter, one that only you can write. Now, let's move on to the second hidden sign of retirement grief, something that quietly creeps in when we least expect it: emotional isolation. Sign number 2, emotional isolation. Retirement may end your workday stress, but it can also end your daily connection with others. And when that happens, emotional isolation begins to settle in. This isn't about being physically alone. It's about feeling emotionally disconnected. You could be surrounded by people, family, neighbors, even your spouse, and still feel completely unseen. During your working years, social interaction was built into your day. Colleagues, clients, patients, you had conversations, laughter, teamwork, even occasional conflict. And while you may not have realized it, these moments were keeping your mind engaged and your heart connected. Then, suddenly, it stops. No more coworkers dropping by your desk. No more lunch breaks with friends. No more hallway conversations or weekly meetings. At first, it feels like peace, but slowly, quietly, the silence becomes a weight. The quietest threat to senior health, according to a landmark study by the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine 2020, more than 1/3 of adults over age 45 report feeling lonely, and nearly 1/4 of adults aged 65 and older are considered socially isolated. And here's the shocking part: social isolation increases the risk of premature death from all causes, a risk that may rival smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. In fact, former U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy called loneliness a growing health epidemic, noting that it's as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Seniors, this is more than emotional pain. It's a direct threat to brain function, immune health, and life expectancy. Real people, real pain. Take Margaret, a 72-year-old widow from Florida. After retiring and losing her husband, she found herself going days, sometimes weeks, without a meaningful conversation. "I didn't realize how lonely I was until I caught myself talking to the television," she admitted. "I used to be surrounded by people. Now, it's just me and the clock ticking." Her story isn't rare. In retirement, many seniors feel like they've quietly slipped out of the spotlight of life. The invitations stop coming. Friends drift away. Even family members get busier with their own lives. And when you feel like no one is noticing you anymore, you start to believe you don't matter. That's the most dangerous lie isolation tells. how to reconnect, even if you think it's too late. Emotional isolation is not a fixed condition. It's a signal, a warning light on the dashboard of your emotional health. And the good news is, you can do something about it. Start with one connection. You don't need a crowd. Just one genuine relationship can protect your emotional and physical health. Reach out to an old friend, a former coworker, or someone at church. Say, "I'd love to catch up." Join a group that meets regularly. Whether it's a local book club, gardening circle, or senior walking group, regular interaction is key. Look into community centers, libraries, or online meetups tailored for seniors. Volunteer, share your wisdom. Research from Harvard Health shows that older adults who volunteer report higher levels of life satisfaction and lower rates of depression. Teaching, mentoring, or even greeting at your local food bank can rebuild that sense of being valued. Don't be afraid to seek support. If you feel persistently low, talk to your doctor or a counselor. Therapy isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's saying, "My feelings matter." You deserve to be seen and heard. One of the most devastating lies we tell ourselves as we age is that we're too old to start again. That our presence no longer matters, but you are not invisible. You are not irrelevant. The world may not always come knocking, but you can still open doors, new friends, new conversations, new memories. Helen Keller once said, "Alone we can do so little. Together we can do so much." That's never more true than in our later years, because connection isn't just a luxury, it's survival. It's what keeps our spirits alive long after the job titles fade. You are not alone, even if it feels that way. So if you've been feeling that quiet sadness, the kind you don't talk about, where you look around and think, "No one really sees me anymore," know this, we see you, and your story isn't over. Now let's move to sign number 3, something that may surprise you even more than loneliness. The sudden loss of purpose that sneaks in once your calendar is finally clear. Sign number 3, loss of purpose. After the retirement parties end and the congratulations fade, many seniors find themselves facing a feeling they never expected, the haunting sense of having no purpose. When you worked, your purpose was clear. You showed up, solved problems, helped people, made decisions, and contributed to something larger than yourself. Even when you were tired or stressed, there was meaning in the routine. Then, one day, the structure is gone. The alarm clock no longer rings. No one is waiting for your ideas. No one is asking for your help. You have time, but nothing to fill it with. That's when the question starts creeping in. What am I even doing with my life now? Why this loss hits so hard as human beings. We are wired to seek meaning. Purpose is not just a spiritual idea, it's a biological need. It motivates us, sustains us, and helps regulate everything from brain chemistry to immune function. Dr. Patricia Boyle, a neuropsychologist at the Rush Alzheimer's Disease Center in Chicago, found in a 2010 study that seniors with a strong sense of purpose were 2.4 times more likely to avoid developing Alzheimer's disease, even after controlling for education and physical health. Purpose in life, she writes, is one of the strongest predictors of staying cognitively and physically healthy in old age. Without it, the mind begins to drift. Motivation fades. You may sleep more, talk less, feel restless but uninspired. Days pass and each one feels exactly like the last. You're not depressed exactly, but you're also not fully alive. The emotional. Told of an empty calendar, listen to Robert, a 68-year-old retired school principal from Michigan. For over 30 years, he shaped young lives, ran staff meetings, and stood at the center of his community. "I was somebody," he said. "Every morning had a mission. Now, I just water the plants and wait for the mailman." He's not alone. AARP. Research shows that 60% of retirees report struggling with a loss of daily purpose, especially within the first 3 years of leaving full-time work, and this drifting feeling often leads to declining mental health, increased risk of substance use, and even higher mortality rates. But here's the good news: purpose doesn't retire when you do. How to reclaim purpose after retirement 1. Redefine what purpose means now. Purpose doesn't have to be a career. It can be caregiving. It can be mentoring. It can be creating. It can be as simple as showing up with love and energy for the people around you. Turn curiosity into contribution. Ask yourself, what have I always wanted to learn, do, or share, but never had time for? Whether it's painting, gardening, or learning a new language, growth brings energy. And when you turn that passion into something that helps others, even better. Bake for your church. Teach a teen how to budget. Share your skills at a local library. That's purpose in motion. Establish meaningful rituals. Purpose isn't always big. It can live in small, repeated actions that give your day direction. Morning walks, writing letters, weekly calls to loved ones, rituals turn emptiness into rhythm. Volunteer even in small ways. A study from Carnegie Mellon University found that adults over 50 who volunteered at least 200 hours a year had lower blood pressure and reported greater life satisfaction. Even 1 hour a week can be enough to feel needed again. Real-life revival. From drifting to driven, take Marlene, 73, who spent 40 years as a nurse in California. After retiring, she felt completely disconnected until she joined a local grief support group. She didn't intend to speak, just listen. But one day she shared her story, and someone cried, hugged her, and said, "You helped me more than you'll ever know." That moment became her new purpose. Today, Marlene leads that group. Or Bill, a former contractor who now builds birdhouses with his grandson and donates them to schools. He says, "It gives me a reason to get up and something to pass on." That's purpose. And it's never too late to find it. Your life still has meaning even without the job. Title losing. Your job title doesn't mean losing your worth. Losing your schedules doesn't mean losing your spirit. The world may no longer expect anything from you, but that doesn't mean you have nothing left to give. You still have stories to tell, people to love, lessons to share, moments to savor. Purpose isn't something you retire from, it's something you evolve into. Coming up next, we'll explore a powerful but often overlooked signal of grief in retirement. When your emotions begin to shift suddenly without explanation. Let's talk about mood swings, irritability, and the quiet emotional turbulence that many seniors silently endure. Sign number 4, mood swings and emotional flatness, one of the most overlooked signs of grief in retirement, doesn't show up as tears. It shows up as mood swings, irritability, or emotional numbness. You may not even recognize it at first, but deep inside, something doesn't feel right. Maybe you're more short-tempered than usual. You snap at your spouse for no real reason. You find yourself restless, annoyed, or strangely emotionless about things that used to bring joy. Or perhaps the opposite. You feel heavy, dull, like you're walking through fog. These shifts are not just bad days. They are quiet, emotional signals that your mind and heart are adjusting to a deep change. The loss of rhythm, recognition, and responsibility that came with your working life. Why emotional changes are a hidden warning. Grief doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it looks like anger. Sometimes it looks like boredom. And often in retirement, it shows up as a general loss of emotional color. The highs aren't high. The lows aren't low. It's just flat. According to the American Psychological Association, emotional dysregulation, including mood swings, apathy, and irritability, is a common response to major life transitions, especially when a person's identity and daily structure are disrupted. Dr. Nancy Schlossberg, a professor emerita and author of Retire Smart, Retire Happy, writes, "Retirement is one of the most psychologically challenging phases of life. not because people hate freedom, but because they're unprepared for the emotional vacuum it creates. That vacuum can trigger cortisol imbalances, stress, hormone, disrupt sleep, and worsen both physical and mental health. And the deeper the emotional flatness, the more likely someone is to withdraw from meaningful activity. You're not losing it, you're grieving. One of the most harmful myths is that emotional turbulence in older adults is just aging. It's not. It's often unspoken grief. Take John, 70, a retired electrician from Colorado. I didn't cry or anything. I just started getting really short with people. Every little thing annoyed me. I thought maybe I was becoming a grumpy, old man. But it wasn't that. I was lonely, lost, and mad at myself for feeling that way. Or Sandra, 66, a former administrative assistant. I used to love music. After I retired, I stopped listening. It just felt empty, like I couldn't feel anything at all. That's not weakness. That's a mind and body reacting to loss. The danger of ignoring the signs unchecked, emotional flatness or mood swings can lead to bigger problems. Chronic stress and elevated inflammation, poor sleep, and fatigue increased risk of depression strained. Relationships with loved ones reduced motivation to exercise or socialize. And when those things pile up, they can make retirement feel like a slow emotional shutdown. But the good news is, these emotional changes aren't permanent. They're signals, not life sentences. And with the right tools, you can feel like yourself again, even better than before. Simple steps to regain emotional balance. Name what you feel, even if it's vague. Sometimes saying, "I feel off and I don't know why," is the first step. Journaling or talking to someone helps you break the silence and take back control. Worse, move your body. You don't have to run marathons, but gentle daily movement like walking, stretching, or dancing triggers dopamine and serotonin, the body's natural mood regulators. Connect to something greater than yourself. This could be faith, nature, art, or service. Purpose beyond self calms emotional storms. Seek mental health support without shame. Seeing a counselor, therapist, or even joining a peer support group can help you process grief. Therapy isn't for the weak, it's for the wise. Create tiny emotional routines, morning sunlight, listening to music, gratitude journaling. These micro habits can rebuild your emotional rhythm, one quiet victory at a time. You deserve to feel like you. Again, you're not broken. You're not overreacting. You're not just getting old. You're human. You've gone through a major change, one the world doesn't prepare you for emotionally, and you're allowed to feel strange, unmotivated, or even angry sometimes. But beneath all that, your emotional strength is still there. It's just waiting to be invited back. And remember this, the goal isn't to feel happy all the time. The goal is to feel alive, connected to your inner world, your relationships, your story. Next, let's explore one of the most surprising signs of retirement grief: regret and what-if thinking. If you find yourself looking back and wondering, did I make the right choices? You're not alone. Let's uncover how to break free from that quiet trap and find peace with the past. Sign number 5, regret and what if. Thinking of all the emotions that quietly creep in after retirement, regret may be the most painful and the most persistent. It doesn't shout, it whispers. What if I had taken that trip? What if I had changed careers? What if I had spent more time with my kids instead of chasing promotions? Did I waste my best years on the wrong things? These thoughts don't always come at once. They arrive during quiet moments, in the garden, at night, in bed, while watching someone younger live boldly, and when they do, they sting deeply. Why? Regret intensifies after retirement. During your working years, you're too busy to dwell. There are schedules to meet, bills to pay, goals to chase. But once retirement clears the calendar, the mind turns inward, and for many, That's when the highlight reel begins to play, not of achievements, but of missed chances. According to a study published in the journal Emotion by Dr. Neil Rose, a professor of psychology at Northwestern University, older adults are more likely to ruminate on regrets involving relationships and opportunities not taken, especially when they believe those opportunities are gone for good. We regret what we didn't do far more than what we did, says Dr. Rose. And in later life, we have fewer chances to correct those inactions, which makes the regret sharper. That regret can slowly harden into bitterness, shame, or deep sadness, making it harder to feel hopeful about the future. The real life. Weight of what ifs take Diane, a 69-year-old retired librarian from Oregon. She shared, "I was always careful, always responsible. I saved, I followed the rules, but now I wonder, why didn't I travel more when I had the chance? Why didn't I take more risks? I did everything right, but sometimes it doesn't feel like enough." Or Frank, a 74-year-old widower who spent decades building his business. "I missed a lot of my kids' events. I told myself I was doing it for them. Now they're grown, and I can't get those moments back." These regrets cut to the core, not because of failure, but because of time. Time feels finite now, and we fear that maybe we didn't live as fully as we could have. But here's the truth. It's not too late. The past may be unchangeable, but its power over you is not. Regret can only hold you if you stay in it. But when you acknowledge it, learn from it, and choose something different moving forward, you reclaim your life. Forgive your younger self. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Show yourself the same grace you'd show a friend. Make peace through action. You may not be able to relive your 30s, but you can start painting, traveling, connecting, volunteering, or telling your story now. That's not late. That's on time. Write the unsent letter. Say the things you wish you'd said. Whether it's to someone who's gone or to your past self, writing it down can heal hidden wounds. Create a reverse bucket list. Instead of focusing on what you didn't do, make a list of everything you did, the people you helped, the challenges you overcame, the lives you touched. You'll realize your life has mattered more than you think. Choose one small risk. Now, take that art class. Say yes to the invite. Visit that friend. Every time you act on something your heart longs for, you dissolve a layer of regret. Purpose can begin. Where regret ends, you are not your missed opportunities. You are the sum of everything you've experienced and everything you're still capable of creating. Letting go of regret doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means using it as fuel, not chains. And here's something powerful to remember. The years ahead of you can still be the most meaningful ones. Closing thought and what comes next. So, if you find yourself looking back too much, stuck in the what ifs, remember this. The future needs you more than the past does. The past cannot be rewritten, but today is a blank page, and you're still holding the pen. Now, in our final section, let's bring everything together. We'll look at how to transform these hidden struggles of retirement into a bold, fulfilling new chapter, and the simplest first step you can take starting today. Conclusion: a new beginning, not the end. If any part of today's message resonated with you, even just a little, you're already on the path to healing. Because here's the truth: the grief you feel in retirement doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. It means you care deeply about your life, your work, your relationships. And now that one chapter has closed, you're feeling the weight of that change. But just because you've left the workplace doesn't mean your purpose, your voice, or your power have retired. You're still needed, still loved, still capable of growing, connecting, leading, creating, and contributing in ways you've never imagined before. Your story isn't finished. It's shifting. And just like the seasons, every shift brings something new, something beautiful. If you choose to see it, you can rebuild your identity, you can reconnect, You can reignite your purpose, you can heal, and you don't have to do it alone. At Senior Living, we believe retirement should be a time of reinvention, not retreat. A time of rediscovery, not disappearance. A time to embrace life, not fade from it. If this video moved you, leave a comment below. Let us know which of the 5 signs you've experienced. Share your story and let someone else know they're not alone. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay with us, because this is just the beginning of a journey worth taking. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay strong, stay seen, and keep living fully.